This is gonna be cool.
The topics and opinions expressed on the Dudes and Beer podcast are intended for an audience of 18 and up and are solely those of the host and guests. They neither reflect the opinions or values of either the sponsors of Dudes and Beer or your mother. I mean, seriously. Have you ever heard these guys? They'll talk about anything.
Whoa, hey, you think they're gonna show it? They'll probably just blur it out. Whoa, check it out, Beavis.
Grab your beverages and turn up your interweb. Solving the world's problems 12 ounces at a time. It's Dudes and Beer.
Well, hello everybody.
Woo!
Welcome to episode 81 of Dudes and Beer. I am Chris Jordan, your host. With me tonight here in the cave is Stephen Bishop.
Yeah!
And instead of our good friend Nelson Kugel, who is out on some personal stuff this evening, we have our good friend Thomas Metz. How you doing, Tom?
Yo. What's up, Tom?
So glad to have you in studio. I love it whenever you have a chance to make it by the show, man. I love hanging out with you. So, yeah, tonight, in preparation for Christmas, we will actually be talking about favorite Christmas movies. Last time Tom was here, we were talking about some movie stuff, things like that, and I figured that we would carry that on a little bit more with this and get into some just movies that get us into the holiday spirit, movies that we always tie into Christmas and make us think about Christmas and really kind of put us in that way that get us ready for the Christmas time.
Hell
yeah. We will talk about that right after this message from our sponsor.
Three drunk drivers.
Hey everybody, Chris Jordan, host of the Dudes and Beer podcast here. Has this ever happened to you? Tired of looking in your rearview mirror after a couple of drinks with friends or worrying about no-refusal weekends and DUI stops? Are you planning a night on the town and want an easy, safe way to get around while still having fun? Well, Fare is the ride service for you. Simply download the easy-to-use and free Fare app from the Google Play Store or iTunes Marketplace and use promo code DUDES10 every time you ride with Fare to save 10% off your ride. Have a Fare driver you liked riding with? You can not only give them a review and tip, but you can add them to your preferred drivers list on your Fare app and request them every time you ride with Fare. You can schedule rides with Fare to pick you up immediately or as far as 30 minutes to 7 days in advance, eliminating the need for last-minute calls and allowing you to pre-schedule pickups in locations other than your home city. Perfect for those traveling for business or for fun. So don't forget to stop on by and download that free Fare app and use the coupon code DUDES10 every time you ride with Fare to get 10% off your ride. That's right, don't forget the coupon code is DUDES10. So be like Dudes and Beer, everybody. Party safe, use Fare, and drink responsibly.
And we are back.
That's damn right.
Yeah. So welcome back, Steve-O. You were right on the wire there as we started off the show, but welcome back to the studio. Welcome back, everybody. Hope everything's been going good for everyone.
I'd like people to know, though, we've got the, No Refusal Weekend coming up.
We do.
They need to keep in mind to use that Fare in our
Not just
promo.
No Refusal Weekend. It's like 2 weeks of no refusal in Texas.
Oh, shoot.
And people don't get that. It's no refusal on like a Wednesday and a Thursday. It's this whole time is pretty much no refusal, especially in the city of Austin.
That's
so
no way, no.
Be careful whenever you're going out to your holiday parties for work, stuff like that. Whenever you're going out to your gigs, if it's within reason, take a Fare, guys.
Yeah.
Get out there. Make sure that you're partying responsibly. Make sure that you're drinking responsibly.
You tipsy, you need to be responsible.
And that's just it. That's just it. And as we come around to festival season, same thing. Make sure that you're getting out there to, do things right, that you're not one of the problem people on Earth. And that's kind of what we were talking about before the show. Right now, actually talking about problem people, I am drinking some Mama Tried by Brazos Valley Brewing out of Brenham. if I'm not mistaken. And it's actually pretty tasty, nice light flavor. You know,
It's an IPA.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of smooth or.
And I haven't had a chance to hit it yet, but Tom actually brought in some Adalbert's Brewery
I like that.
hibiscus saison. So I can't wait to try that. I'm a big fan of hibiscus.
Hey Tom, where'd you pick this up at?
This is over, what's that store over there? You know, it's right next door.
Oh,
Hula Hoo?
Yeah, the
Oh,
yeah.
really?
The Hula Hoo.
Okay.
All right.
Nice to know. Nice
Go
to know.
Hula Hoo. Yeah, they actually, whenever they reopened, they got a really good selection of beers over there, and you know, it really opened up with, I think, this place and the local neighborhood
Sure
in
did.
mind. Whenever they rebranded, and you know, anyway, yeah.
They went from hula to hula.
That's just a hula hoo. That's what we're busy drinking in studio tonight as we discuss Christmas movies. So, number one, I guess, what do y'all consider a Christmas movie?
It's gotta have a tree and some lights.
It's got to have a tree and some lights. Okay, all right. That is definitely up there in the definitions. What about you, Tom?
Well, you know, if it's got Santa Claus, that usually qualifies it. You know, if it's basically around the holidays, it usually works.
Yeah.
You know, winter movies and Christmas movies generally are, not quite the same, but
Yeah.
definitely, I think the tree and the lights
Yeah,
is a big
right.
factor.
You know
for
what I
me
mean?
As well.
Yeah,
There's got to be Christmas spirit of some sort. you know.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Deck the halls, man.
I would say that, and it's definitely one of those that, you know, it's something that takes me back to Christmas time for me, as well. And you know, like, let's just kind of throw one out on the table. Let's go with just your go-to Christmas movie.
My go-to
Steven.
Christmas. I already know this one.
Yeah.
It's that one with Chevy Chase. What's that Christmas one with his cousin?
Family Vacation.
Yeah, crazy ass cousin.
Christmas
Yeah.
Vacation.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, Christmas Vacation was
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
You don't,
Christmas
you don't
Vacation
put
was a
your
classic.
doo-doo down the gutter of the street.
Yeah, don't empty the septic out into the sewer. Yeah.
It's man, I can never get enough of that
little
movie.
Randy Quaid action.
Randy Quaid, oh my God, he makes me laugh and
Yeah,
smile.
Christmas Vacation is always a great one. That's always a classic.
That's classic right there,
I love
man.
that.
Wrap the cat up in a box.
Yeah. Right.
I love that movie, man.
Yeah. Well, and that's a fantastic one. The whole series of those is really,
right.
really well done.
It's one of those things to me, like, you're talking about the series of it. It's like, to me, it's like, okay, you got these things like, series of things. And then when they go to make a Christmas, it's like, it's all right, or it's not that great. But when the National Lampoons made the Christmas one, it was like, hey, man, this is as good or maybe even better than the other ones.
Well, and I mean, I think it kind of married naturally just because of the fact that it was always a family vacation that they were on, you know, that drove it. And yeah, who doesn't have a crazy Christmas vacation at some point? Who doesn't have some wildness go on?
Right.
Yeah, well,
at some point in life.
hijinks must ensue.
Hijinks must ensue. That's right. What about you, Tom? What's one of your go-tos?
Well, speaking of hijinks, I would say one of my favorite Christmas movies is probably Gremlins.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yes.
I mean, you know, I'm such a big horror fan anyway, and, you know, it's a movie about a bunch of basically what, you know, elves probably are.
Yeah.
You know, these
Gizmo.
little menacing creatures that,
Yeah.
you know, basically, like, destroy everything in sight. You know, hijinks ensue. Gremlins. It's great.
Yep.
There's only two simple rules. Don't get him wet and don't feed him after midnight.
Yeah. I mean, those are strange rules, but, you know, rules is rules.
Rules is rules, and look at what happens when they're disobeyed. Yeah, that is one that Amy's been wanting to watch for months and months, and I was like, no, we
Yeah,
can't.
we gotta wait till
We
Christmas.
can't watch that yet.
That's
we
dope.
can't watch that yet. It's much like I save my Die Hard watching for Christmas. You know,
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
either Die Hard 1 or 2. Like those are Christmas movies.
I was
to
going to
me.
say, which
They're-
one of the Gremlins are you talking? When you talk Christmas Gremlins, is it the first one or the second one?
Well, the second one is more of a New Year's.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
Which,
all right.
you know, I was actually with you on that. I got into a discussion with somebody about it. I'm like, yeah, isn't Gremlins 2 also a Christmas movie? Like,
Right.
Technically, no. It's more of like, even to say it's like a New Year's movie, I don't even think it's a New Year's movie. But yeah, it's definitely not quite Christmas.
Yeah.
Not quite Christmas.
There's not the snow and there's no Santa or anything.
Yeah, Gizmo isn't running around with the Santa hat on.
Exactly, yeah. So definitely Gremlins 1 just by default. But Gremlins 2 was pretty great too. The flying bat gremlin.
Oh, they were both great.
yeah.
They were both fantastic movies.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big spider gremlin.
Yeah.
It's
pretty dope.
Pretty interesting with it.
Yeah, they got pretty far out there with some of the stuff at that point.
It was like
Some of the
created in a
puppetry.
laboratory.
There was the girl gremlin. Remember the
Oh, yeah. The
transvestite one,
sexy
kind of.
gremlin.
Yeah.
That's right.
The girl gremlin.
The girl gremlin. She was the only girl gremlin. You know?
Yeah.
She'd be down there on South
was such a
Congress and
slut.
whatever down there by that movie theater.
yeah. And I mean, I really find that, like, what you consider, like, another one, we watched it right at Thanksgiving, and,
Which one was that? Yeah.
Trading Places.
Yeah.
And that one, I love watching it. That one, to me, is always what I start my Christmas movie watching with.
I love Dan Aykroyd, man.
That,
It's so good.
that whole movie is just fantastic. It's great. It's so well written, and it's actually a play on, I want to say, The Marriage of Figaro or something
Really?
like that.
Very interesting.
Is what it's an interpretation
And
of.
hijinks
but-
ensue in that one as well.
Yes, they do.
Wow.
And
Didn't know that.
Well, think about, like, these rich guys
Yeah.
find these poor guys.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, there's one poor guy and one rich guy.
yeah. And that's
Able to
one that I
manipulate.
guess technically, much like you just said about Gremlins 2, could arguably be much more of a New Year movie than a Christmas movie.
Right.
Even though Christmas is crossed, everything really comes to a head right
When
after
it hits the New Year's.
when the crop report is released.
But, I think, the season, I think about Christmas movies is more like, the holiday season, like December, to January, maybe even going into, like, Thanksgiving, but...
Well, exactly, and that's why I said that. Like, that's one that I start my Christmas movie season with. That's
Trading
one
Places.
that I remember
Places,
from
yeah.
my childhood, and I just
Takes place in Philadelphia, if I remember right.
the city of brotherly love.
Yeah.
Brotherly love. That's cool as shit.
Yeah.
Another good one that I was thinking about was
Which one?
I watched the other day was Home Alone.
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, Macaulay Culkin. Actually, the one I watched was the
1990.
second one.
The
Yep.
second
The
one.
second one,
Oh, okay.
where he gets stuck in New York and
Oh, that one.
Hijinks
Trump
ensue.
is actually
Yeah,
in that
Trump
one.
No, Trump's in that one. Yeah,
Oh, that's a cameo in
Yeah.
There
there.
you go. Maybe that's why we put it on.
it might be.
Maybe why we put it on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it's
it's
crazy.
that was a great movie.
You
and
Trump
actually,
fan.
an interesting and original story whenever it came
I
out.
didn't say that.
I know.
I guess what people associate to be a Christmas movie is really generational. If you really think about it, because my mom doesn't necessarily think about I saw somebody post the other day, like, it's not Christmas until Nakatomi Plaza explodes.
Jesus Christ, we don't want nothing to explode.
Well, no, Nakatomi Plaza is the building that the terrorists take over, or the bank robbers, rather, in disguise of terrorists, take over in Die Hard.
I feel you. Okay, I didn't get this analogy here.
My mom wouldn't necessarily associate, like, Die Hard as a Christmas movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There are some people I run into
It's
that
funny,
don't.
yeah. Like I really didn't until like I moved down here and everyone was like, Die Hard's a Christmas movie. I'm like, really? Huh? I never thought of it as one. And I guess just because we're maybe we're.
I think you got to be
friends
into
and
Die
maybe-
Hard first. And then accept it's a Christmas movie second is what I got to think. Yeah.
Well, the whole
that's the
thing
way I-
takes place during Christmas.
Right. But see, the thing is
It's a Christmas party that gets rated.
You got to want to
it
watch
totally is
Die
a
Hard
Christmas
because it's
movie,
not
yeah.
sold at first up front as a Christmas movie.
No.
You see what I
no.
mean?
It's
Yeah.
just it's a movie.
Yeah.
It's not a movie about Christmas.
So
I mean,
until you see Die Hard, you won't know that it's a Christmas movie until you see it. But then
Yeah.
you got to want to see it. Therefore, that if you already like, hey, I don't want to see this Die Hard movie TV.
Therefore.
You see what I mean?
Ergo.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think on that. You know, so you got people that won't watch it just because, it's Die Hard. Yeah, I don't want to see that.
And you know, it does have hijinks.
It does.
I mean, it has more serious hijinks.
Yes.
You know, of the exploding type and walking on the glass. That part always grossed me out.
Shit! I don't
Even the second one though takes place at Christmas.
Yeah. Well, Die Hard went into.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
It did.
Which is a class movie in and of itself.
Yeah.
You know. And you know, there's
Die
just
Hard with a vengeance.
You know, I guess for me, I remember a lot of movies like Ernest and stuff like that.
I love Ernest, man.
You know,
I love Ernest. Ernest pre-world.
Right? Didn't he die recently?
Not recently. He's been dead for a while.
Is it a while? Okay.
He was one of those actors that died and nobody even realized it until way later. Like, what happened to that guy? And
Jim Varney is it?
Yes.
Jim Varney,
He hit it. Yep.
Yeah.
Sure is.
Hey, Vern.
Hey, Vern.
And they said
you know what I mean, Vern?
They said actually he was very intelligent.
He was.
From what my understanding is, he was like a radio guy.
Yeah.
Some or other, yeah.
And then he got into acting and
much like Larry. Much like Larry the Cable Guy. His thing started out as a radio comedy shtick.
Totally, yeah.
You know, like I remember him calling into the morning show in Houston and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like he would call into various morning shows around the country.
Back in the late
like
90s, I remember listening to Z-Rock, which was 98.9, and he would call into the morning show.
Yeah, and it was normally like a Friday morning bit. You know, Larry the Cable Guy would call in and stuff like that.
And he'd call in just like and they were expecting him to call, and they were waiting for him to call, and it was a whole stick, or whatever.
Oh, yeah. No, it was
awesome.
Great. It was classy.
And that's where he got it
A lot
going.
of people made their bones in.
Yeah.
A whole lot of people.
Did so good, I went and bought the tape.
And it's interesting because, like, I actually, talking about that, I actually watched a whole show the other night on Bing Crosby. I love Bing Crosby. But there was a show on PBS all about Bing Crosby and about how when his contract was bought, like he had a career before radio and stuff, but it wasn't until radio and that kind of stuff that he really got picked up because of his singing style. It was so subtle.
But wasn't he the dancer guy too?
He did some dancing and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But,
I remember him as dancing.
He did more singing than anything else. He did a lot of dancing in movies with Bing Crosby and stuff like that. Or not with Bing Crosby, with himself.
Yeah.
Bing Crosby is Bing Crosby.
He did both.
Bing Crosby. The Bing Crosby story.
The Bing Crosby story.
I was born.
Imagine playing yourself in your own biopic.
I'm Bing Crosby.
Well, I mean, I feel like
Bob
I
Hope.
probably do the best job playing myself.
Playing myself.
I would think.
Bing Crosby's White Christmas is the most sold album of all time. I mean, it's
I believe it.
And I mean,
is it that
but
one?
his singing style begat a whole generation of crooners and stuff like that. It became this style that didn't exist before the microphone.
It's kind of like he created that.
He did.
Yeah.
He actually created a genre of music and became something that people just automatically identified with.
Identified with.
This radio company picked him up and he became their voice, and they literally, like, just any style of music from Hawaiian to whatever, like, they had him recording it and pumping it out, and he is literally the most recorded voice of all time.
Wow, seriously.
It's Bing Crosby. He has recorded more than like 1,600 or like 2,000 tracks.
I wonder who owns the rights
like
and publishing rights to all this stuff now for Bing Crosby.
Well, the radio company owns it.
Who knows?
Stuff like that.
Of course.
I'm sure he gets royalties.
You know, it's interesting because he was in movies like White Christmas and things like that our parents' generation associate with Christmas.
Right.
You know,
well, let's talk about older ones then.
I mean, most definitely Christmas Carol. You gotta throw Christmas Carol, even Muppets Christmas Carol into the mix.
Which one was like
Miracle on 30?
That's the one I think I might.
Miracle on 34th Street with Little Virginia.
Little Virginia.
Little Virginia. Yeah, you know.
Me, Virginia.
There's, of course, It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. That's the one.
Which is really more of a New Year's thing as well.
Where he's running down
at the
street.
same
I
time.
think that's pretty Christmassy, but yeah, it's kind of like man struggles with
his financials and shit, right?
Oh yeah, like
the whole town was struggling with the financials, and he was the one that could save them.
Yeah,
and
really,
he had no faith in himself. Go ahead, Tom.
It was movies like that where a lot of these newer movies got their storylines from.
Oh yeah,
when you think about Gremlins, it was kind of like similar to It's a Wonderful Life in some ways.
Well,
hardship.
Goonies in and of itself was based on the same concept. The town was about to go under.
Right. Yeah.
Goonies? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the plot line to Goonies was that the town was about to go bankrupt, and it was being bought out by this corporation.
Huh. I didn't realize that. Huh.
Goonies isn't a Christmas movie, though.
It is not a Christmas movie.
But let's not go there.
Let's not stray.
I think
from the Christmas
Chris
movie
read
thing
into
here.
that way under more than I did. I didn't realize that.
Gremlins, Steven Spielberg, Goonies. That's where my brain leapt to.
That's good. No,
so
you learn something new every day.
But yeah, I mean the whole redemptive concept of that movie, the whole idea,
which is the same as the Christmas Carol as well.
Mm-hmm.
Where
is that the one you shoot your eye out? No.
You'll shoot your eye out. No, that's a Christmas story.
That's Christmas story.
Which of course is an iconic Christmas movie in and of itself. I mean,
and when I think about Christmas Carol, I mean, so many other movies have been, modeled after that. I mean, obviously modeled too.
Scrooge,
exactly. That's the one I was going with.
Yep.
The Three Ghosts.
That's a modern take on it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, or some other Christmas. Well, there's the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Which obviously it's Muppets, so it's going to be awesome.
You can't go wrong with Muppets.
Yeah,
You're hard pressed. Which I'm actually excited, not to digress too much, but apparently they are slotted to be doing the Dark Crystal 2.
Ooh!
Which is supposed to be all Muppet driven. And yes, so that should be some fun action.
Christmas, you look for.
But
that's Star Wars. Which I think Star Wars is kind of a Christmas movie anyway. I don't know why.
I know.
It makes no sense.
It was the only puppet one that I could come up with at that moment. Yoda.
Well, that was definitely some Jim Henson Muppet action. But to me, the whole concept of redemption in It's a Wonderful Life. They were going into that the other night with Bing Crosby because he, of course, recorded a few songs for that, it's a concept that's explored in a lot of things, and it's interesting the way that beforehand there's a conversation between God and the angel. And it's like, oh, there's a problem. And all these people are sending prayers up to heaven, to God. And it's like, oh, the town's in trouble, only he can help, And it was like, oh, well, there's a problem in this town. Oh, well, what's the problem? Oh, well, he doesn't believe. He doesn't believe in himself. And that I think is the overarching concept in the Christmas movie arc. Even going down to Home Alone and stuff like that, is he's panicked at first. He's panicked. And the parents are panicked about this kid being alone.
Yeah, Macaulay's freaking out.
But he finds a way to fend for himself and to take care of himself and to make his holiday his own.
Yeah.
Throughout that.
He listens to some Cher. Do you believe in love?
Well, that's number 2. The first one
he listens to
the first one is that creepy old dude that shovels the sidewalk.
Oh, my
lost
God.
his family. Where it's like, oh my God, why did I have to get all creepy and death-like to tell the story? But there is this redemptive concept of being able to overcome the adversity and to be able to look past oneself, to be able to get to the greater good. Even in Gremlins,
right? I mean, it goes back in the universal story of mankind. I mean, like, you know, wintertime is the hardest time of the year, you know, like, it's dark, it's cold.
You're from Maine. You can attest to that. It gets no,
it's like
I mean
everywhere, right? Yeah, I mean,
it gets dire in Maine. Like there are businesses that literally close down. They either close down or they're lucky if they survive the winter.
Jeez.
Like as a business. It gets wild up there, man. It gets crazy.
Yeah, and you know, so I mean, just traditionally, you know, Christmas is like, okay, we need to have one more celebration so we don't like go crazy up here, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you know, it's sort of like, you know, to keep spirits up. You know, it's always been, you know, it's like that hope. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important in society. You know, I mean, before Christmas, it was what, Yule. You know.
Yep.
You got a bunch of other holidays, too, that all kind of line up around that time.
Oh, yeah. There's a whole list of holidays around the world that line up around the same time. Hanukkah lines up around the same time. Ramadan lines up around the same time. You know, there's quite a few that are right there in the same area.
Kwanzaa, yeah.
Which is more of like an astrological phenomenon than anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's cool. The interesting thing about, you know, the history of, you know, Christmas, because, I mean, you know, they can't even prove, you know, if Jesus was a real person or not, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that. He was written about in some other writings like Josephus and stuff like that. So, I mean, there is some historical evidence for the person of Jesus existing. Mm-hmm. Whether or not the story of the Christ child as we know it.
But there are also like similar stories amongst other cultures that have a savior born on December 25th.
Oh no, the cult of Mithra in Rome, in and of itself.
Yep. And Krishna
was right up around. Krishna was right up around the same time. You know.
Who else?
There's quite a few.
Who was the one in Egypt?
Oh, well, that was Isis. Isis was Mary, and oh my God, I can't remember.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them now.
Yeah,
but you know, I've also heard, you know, I can't cite sources. I'm kind of bad at that right now. But anyway, I've heard that Jesus was actually born
much closer to my birthday. He was much more likely a Virgo.
A Virgo, right?
Oh, nice. Okay, I'm a Virgo.
So the fact that they moved his birthday up to this more relevant holiday time, which has already been established through. You know,
well, exactly.
Astronomical.
Kind of goes with the solstice type deal too,
well,
right?
Exactly. Jule's tomorrow. So.
Well, and it's the fact of as religion came about, and especially, you know, it's the same way with Dia de los Muertos and Halloween and stuff like that, and those things being incorporated into Catholicism.
Sure, yeah, they just lump them all in.
You know, even Easter. If you look at Easter, it happens right up around the same time as the spring solstice. The Easter egg itself goes back to, if I'm not mistaken, a Mesopotamian tradition. It's either Mesopotamian or Babylonian, where they were actually, it was a love gift of fertility from a man to a woman to paint an egg and give it to them. You know, and you know, the usurpation and use of all these symbols and symbolism is nothing extraordinarily rare throughout cultures and religions throughout humanity. The Romans themselves were very, very known for allowing and even incorporating the gods of the local people that they conquered. Yeah. They perfectly keep worshiping the way you worship. That's totally cool with us. Make sure you pay your taxes, and here's our temples too. And quite often they adopted some of the gods of the local area, you know, into their pantheon. So it was.
You know, I highly doubt that Jesus knew what a pine tree was.
No, that comes much more from the.
From the Wicca, from the Yule.
Yeah. It was the pine tree, the evergreen, the concept of Mother Earth will continue throughout the winter. You know, you brought your first fruits of the harvest, much like Kwanzaa. You brought your sacrifice to Mother Earth, to the evergreen tree, and you decorated it with your first kill of the season that got you through winter. The entrails of a deer and stuff like that, and that's where we get decorating a Christmas tree from.
Entrails of the tree
is this Germanic tribe tradition?
That's awesome. It's so
that's very interesting.
Cooler.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go find some entrails.
That's where the concept of decorating a Christmas tree comes from. Is the Germanic tribes the sacrifice to Mother Earth.
There's nothing more metal than a tree corpse.
The tree
covered
corpse
in
tree. I remember one year I actually I bought the Christmas. We weren't going to have a Christmas tree at home, and I was like, screw that. We're going to have a Christmas tree, and I bought a Christmas tree and I put lights on it, but I actually decorated it with magic cards.
What?
I actually took a bunch of common magic cards and punched holes through them, and it was just this magic Christmas tree.
Whoa, magic Christmas tree. That's the nerdiest thing I've ever heard.
I know, right?
I love it, man.
It's great. It is classy. It is classy.
Magic card. Yeah.
Magic card.
I have no bones against that. And
No, I'll put up my Marvel cards. That'd be cool.
Dude, I got a great collection of Marvel cards.
Yeah, man.
No, it's to me that's a lot of my problem with Christmas is the fact that number one, the whole meaning behind it to begin with has been usurped, and it's kind of gone to this materialistic concept. And
sure has,
I covered it in, I want to say it was the first volume of Thinking Deeply with Dudes and Beer, how the whole concept of Black Friday.
It's all material.
Has become totally material. And, this is the first preparation for the Christmas season, is a bunch of people kicking each other's ass to go get the best deal on a TV. And that's what the season is all about.
Fighting over that laptop or big screen.
That's what the season's about. That's what it's turned into. That's the concept of Christmas.
Stuff, yeah.
When really, if you take it back to the story of the Nativity, I'm going to get biblical on it because Christmas in and of itself is biblical.
Is biblical.
Technically, yes.
Yeah, the whole story of the Nativity, which is only covered in 3 of the 4 Gospels,
right?
Is interesting because really the whole story is about them basically finding a place to be together for that moment.
In that manger?
For them to find a place of respite. At the time they were avoiding the slaughter of the innocents that was going on in Israel as Herod was searching for the King of Kings and slaughtering every firstborn male child.
It's like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it was some straight up Pharaoh state of shit that was going on, and they escaped to Egypt to get done with that, and to have Christ as a child, and they got away in order for that to happen, and that's really what it's about, is them being together, them finding this moment to be able to find quiet, to be able to get away from that, to be able to have those few days uninterrupted. Like the wise men did not show up the day of the birth. They showed up days and days later.
Yeah. Takes time for that.
And so, to me,
they weren't that wise.
Yeah. Well, hey, they didn't exactly have like a train or something to be able to get there. They had
camels.
It took a little bit. It took a little bit of doing to get there. But yeah, it's interesting how these things get sideways. These facts get sideways, and how we start to kind of culturally adapt things the way that they are in a rapid fashion. I mean, even look at the whole concept of Santa Claus and how long Santa Claus, as we know him, has been around.
Right.
And it's only been since like the 30s or 40s.
Seriously.
Since a Coca-Cola campaign.
Jeez.
It was a Coca-Cola campaign that gave Santa Claus
Santa
the red
Claus.
and the white and the way we know him now.
Nicholas.
Until then, it was
That makes
Saint
sense,
Nicholas and
Coca-Cola.
Father Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like those old
Right.
Christmas movies, and then there's definitely some pretty important product placement. I remember you open up the Coke and drink the Coke. It's like,
Oh yeah.
I want a Coke now, man.
Yeah.
I want to Coke.
Yeah. Well, and it's just.
That's America.
I like the Michael Jackson ones.
Well, it's,
Oh wait, I'm sorry, that was Pepsi.
like we said though, it's humanity in general, and it's the way that humanity works. We're perfectly willing to accept and substitute something that is closely resembling what's already there.
Makes it easier, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And it was nothing for them to take a teaching that was there, something that was already there, a story that was already there, usurp the idea, turn it into a brand, and
brand.
sell it.
It was a marketable deal.
Yeah.
I believe that's the deal behind that. I think.
So
Marketable.
and that bringing it back around is a lot of the concept behind the Christmas movie. Because Christmas, and it's either a Christmas release or a summer release for movies.
Yeah,
True.
It's one of the two.
Star Wars came out right around Christmas.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah, these are
every
the
time
big
I've
times.
seen Star Wars,
and it's
around Christmas.
the big time to let movies out because people are getting out of school, stuff like that. They're going out on holiday. They have more time.
Yeah.
They have more time to go.
Plus, they're also a little bit freer with their money. I mean, I noticed that too. I mean, when I used to work in retail, that was the time to work. You made all your money during Christmas. The rest of the year was kind of meh. It's all right, but Christmas is like that's when you pull it in, make it happen. And that's just. It's been so fortunate. We're talking about capitalism and how we've sort of strayed into this. We need to spend money to.
Yeah, I know you're a big favorite of the red part of Santa's outfit.
Santa's outfit.
No, I'm not into any of that.
I know. I'm just playing.
Ho, come red.
What the hell was I watching the other day? I was watching something. I want to say it was Family Guy or something like that.
Oh, Jesus!
It was with Santa Claus, and he was like ho ho ho. He's like, no, it's ho ho ho. Tired of people misquoting that.
Tired of people misquoting.
It's not ho ho ho. It's ho ho ho.
That would probably
tired of people getting it wrong.
That would be like
Quit
Peter
mispronouncing it.
Peter probably was talking to his father-in-law, which always gives him a hard time.
Oh my God! Yeah, that hibiscus saison is fantastic.
I know, right? It goes down nice and it's
does,
really
don't it?
citrusy.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, my friend.
So
One of these times.
So yeah, for me,
Even all nice.
like the holidays, I love the holiday time. I love the concept behind it. I love spending time with my family. I love spending time with friends and just taking the time. That to me is what it's about.
It's about having a good time and getting your spirits elevated. Yeah. So it's all about that's why there's so many parties.
Yep.
People want to have a good time.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's a lot of what you said too. It's the kind of like the whole Groundhog Day in the middle of winter.
Huh.
There's nothing at all to the prognostication of Phil the Groundhog. It's either 6 more weeks of winter
Get the
or
spirits
6
up.
weeks till spring. There's
It doesn't have any relevance.
really, it's a reason for the town to stay up all night in the middle of winter and bond as a people and be together. And Christmas is that time where we actually have a chance to come together. We have a chance to come together as a family. We have a chance to come together as humanity and think of something larger than ourselves. Think of something greater than ourselves at this point and in this time. I thought it was great. Stone Winchester, the guy that was on the show a few weeks ago. I love Stone. Many prayers to you, my friend, right now. But he was talking about how every year he does a clothing drive for the homeless. He was like, if you have jackets or blankets or anything like that you want to donate, give them to me. I'll go out and give them to people. And it's great. And it's the time of season. Yeah. It's the time of year to do things like that. It's the time of year to think about something greater than yourself, something outside of yourself.
True that, yeah.
And I think that's what the whole concept of the season and the whole spirit of the season is about. Of course, if you're talking Christmas with a capital C, you're talking Jeebus. But I think all of them, as a whole, the world over, are talking about looking at something greater than yourself, just like this show is all the time. We're talking about things greater than ourselves.
Because you don't have to believe in Jesus or believe in a certain thing, but it's time to think about something other than yourself.
Well, it's time to think about something. Yeah, exactly. Other than ourselves. It's time to start to think outside the box and really find solutions that help humanity, help us broaden our scope, help us broaden our view as people, and start to become more inclusive and start to see each other as what we are. So on that note, take care, everybody, and until next time, if you can't be good, be good at it.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Dudes and Beer Podcast. To listen to our live audio streams, tune in at dudesandbeer.com or Spreaker.com/dudesandbeer. You can find our episodes on SoundCloud.com as well as the Google Play and iTunes market. You can also find us on YouTube, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast service. Dudes and Beer is a proud member of the Revolution Digital Group family of podcasts. Thanks for listening, everybody, and until next time, drink responsibly.